Hey ladies and gentlemen, Richard Kenobi here, and I'm back again for part 2 of my review for Dragon Ball The Fall of Men, and that is what everybody didn't like. And yes, I have a trunk sword. I got this last year, and we're just gonna set this down right here. So, yeah, anyway, pretty much, I'm going to talk about the things some people didn't like, and I'm going to explain to them why they are the way they are. That's not going to change, I know this isn't going to change y'all's opinion of it, because it's y'all's opinion, but if it does change y'all, and if it does enlighten you guys, then okay, that's fine. So, let's get to the obvious thing people did not like about this film. The characters, the actors, the way some of the actors portray the characters. Now, the one minor one is Benjamin Hubert as Trunks. Now, yes, the actor does look a little bit old to play the role, and every time he's on screen, the emotions he has of the character are teenage emotions. So, yes, even though, yes, he does look a little bit older, but that's pretty much the only thing. I don't mind it. Like I said, I can look past it. And another thing is, you know, the actress who plays Bulma. Yes, of course, she doesn't quite fit the role. What else? I think that's it. You know, those are just the only two. And, of course, the fact that they don't have the purple or blue hair that the characters are known for. And right off the bat, that last part I want to talk about. The reason they don't have that is because this is original. They're trying to pay homage to those characters and the story without actually being like them. And this is what I'll bring up later on as I get down in this movie and why this film does the things that it does differently than Light of Hope. So, yeah, that's pretty much what people have. But honestly, seriously, second thing they didn't like, and this is a big one, the way Cell looked. Now, yes, I know, I even addressed this in my first part. The way Cell looks, it's a hybrid between imperfect Cell and perfect Cell. Now, I said I kind of like this because it makes him look more intimidating. But yes, it does look silly that he has this. So, and it's obvious there are times where you can see the CG on him. And again, this is a big one, and I can understand that it may turn people off. So, understandable, really understandable. And the other thing people didn't like, let's see, what else did they didn't like? Well, my friend DuoDreams brought this up in his review. He didn't particularly, in his opinion, don't get mad at him for this, and don't get mad at me for this. You know, he didn't like the way Super Saiyan was done in this one. Now, that's the one thing not many people will complain about, but I'll address it anyway, to my good friend, and to you guys who do have this problem. The reason why Super Saiyan looks the way it does in this film, it's because it's pretty much just like how it is in the show. Because go back and watch the first few seasons of Dragon Ball Z. You notice that whenever they went Super Saiyan, their hair only turned more gold blonde when they powered up. But when they weren't, guess they were a sort of white gold stylish aura. So because their aura made them look more golden and more blonde. And even though, yes, we didn't even get that in this film, you know, we didn't actually get to see his aura around him turning more gold, which, yeah, I myself would have liked to see, but there's the reason why it's this certain yellowish white kind of gold. And yes, I also would have liked to see, maybe if we got to see his eyes, Trunks' eyes when he's in Super Saiyan. But honestly, for me, you know, I even myself said, I don't like the way they took out his eyes when he went Super Saiyan, because I would have liked if they kept it, you know, because it would have looked cheesy, but it still would have looked pretty damn good, because for people saying this looks cheesy, that's how Dragon Ball Z is, guys. You know, so, yeah, I can understand Dino, and other people's complaints, and that's okay. You know, like I said, it's understandable because it has been a while since we've seen this white golden style to Super Saiyan. Because in Light of Hope, we had the traditional gold blonde look, but it was done practically with just, you could tell it was highlighted in there. It wasn't CG like it was in this. It was only CG when his aura came up, which is what I liked in Light of Hope. So, yeah, so I liked Super Saiyan a little bit, but I myself would have liked to see his golden aura and his eyes, but that's just me. And the other thing, and this is a big thing people did not like, the fight. Again, I explained this in my last video. I can understand why you didn't like the fight. I myself would have liked to see Trunks at least use his sword, you know, like this. Like that. But whatever, I guess. It's obvious that this fight, because this fight is doing something that I don't think Light of Hope did do, because it wasn't necessary, because the fighting scene between Light of Hope and this is that Light of Hope was able to capture that fast-paced editing style of fighting that we saw in The Matrix and Man of Steel, because that's how Dragon Ball Z should be done in fighting, and they managed to get that down to a T. But this film decided to do what, and people may not know this, but in Dragon Ball Z Season 7, when Goku fought Majin Vegeta, they didn't fight the regular way that they did in the show. They fought in the air using their martial arts and powers, and that's what this film tried to do. It tried to do that, but except it took it more in depth. So whenever they're fighting, it looks like they're just throwing martial arts moves at each other instead of Ki Blast, which I kind of can respect. So, yeah, the fighting was a little bit off, and you could tell it was CG, but thankfully, if this was done in the daylight, it would have been too obvious and ridiculous. But since it was done in the rain and the dark, it's barely noticeable, but I don't think it was that bad. I don't think it's the worst fighting in film, in fan film fiction ever. You know, I don't think so. I mean, yes, it has problems, and yes, they did end up using the fast-paced style that Light of Hope did, but it was only in one scene, but I still liked it. I mean, because at least we got to finally see them fight in the air without doing this, without throwing punches and kicks and flying around at the speed of light to where it was impossible to see. They managed to slow it down, because some people had problems with that in Light of Hope, so... And I know people will have problems with this, so honestly, it's just pick which one you like better. Me, I do have to admit, I like the fight scene in Light of Hope a little bit better, but I can at least respect this one. And let's see, what else did people not like? Oh yeah, that's right, the dialogue. No dialogue in this film. And if you ask me, that's really against someone who doesn't understand why there is no dialogue in this film. Because, again, people seem to forget one thing. The fact that there was no dialogue in this film is because in History of Trunks, you did have narration by Trunks in the abridged and in the original version. And I know a lot of you are going to say, Richard Kenobi, you ridiculous nincompoop. There was talking in those two films. Yes, there were talking in those two films, but it was mostly narration. That's the point. And this film decided to do something neither those two films or Light of Hope could. You know, it decided to take it in depth. And beyond that, just have the narration and only have a couple of dialogue. Because there is dialogue, because at the end when we finally see Goku, that was another favorite part of mine, where we actually see Goku eating the way he does, and then when Trunks looks at him, he says, Goku? It's sort of low so you can barely hear it, but he does say Goku. And we of course do get a play tape or recording from Vegeta. So those are the two bits of dialogue we get in this film. But I liked how it sacrificed no dialogue for more, pretty much, I would want to say film noir type, because it's sort of like Sin City, where you would have the character narrate over and over again, but there would be few talking as possible. And that's the thing people gotta understand. The reason why there is no talking is because it's trying to take it more in depth. Because honestly, how can you possibly describe what Trunks is going through in this kind of thing. In this film, or in the original versions, you can't describe it. The dialogue does not describe what's going on to you. It's just the characters talking, and it's filling in the gaps of what happened before Trunks went back in time. Mainly, it's narration. And in this film, we have little dialogue and a lot more narration from both Trunks and Vegeta. So, yeah, if you're not those types of people, or you're not that type of person who prefers to hear talking in Dragon Ball Z and no narration, then this film may not be your cup of tea. And I think I covered all of that, but again, those are just the few things. Now, of course, let me get into why this is a good idea, the way it is. Actually, I think I should save that for part 3, but I will say this. For those problems, it managed to at least captivate you, because see, that's the thing. This is its own original thing. It's trying to stand on its own. That's the point of this film. You know, yes, we do see what happens, and we do see, you know, Trunks does go back to the past to see Goku. It's pretty straightforward when you think about it. This whole story is straightforward, but the way it plays out in the original film, the abridged version, and this film, and possibly In Light of Hope, is that the dialogue, the narration, fill in these gaps. In this film, the narration filled in the gaps, while the characters acted with their emotions. They pretty much used their emotions to tell you or show you how they're feeling instead of just telling you, because that's the whole point. You show, you don't tell. This is something that M. Night Shyamalan failed to do in some of his films. This is something that's important to do. You need to show us the environment, how it relates to what's going on in the plot, but mainly and most importantly, you need to show us how and what the characters are feeling. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much my thoughts on what people didn't like, and these are minor and these are understandable complaints. So yeah, guys, overall, if you enjoyed this second part, then please like, comment, and subscribe. And until then, guys, this is Richard Kenobi saying, may the Force be with you. Later, guys.